Welcome to the Impact Sales Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Beck, and we have a great episode in store for you today. Today, I'm going to dig all into the idea of impact as it relates to the sales process. Now, I know we talk a lot in sales about value and creating significant value for our prospects and clients. Well, today we're going to talk all about impact. I'm a big believer in impact, making an impact, having an impact, exploring impact in the sales process. And I believe that it's one of the foundational pieces that every elite sales professional needs to master to be successful in their sales effort. And more importantly, really developing and expanding great relationships with the people that they are working with. So today we're going to talk all about how, as a sales professional, whether you're a coach, consultant, or an entrepreneur, how you can make an impact on your prospects and clients, both during the sales process and going through the interactions with them, but also going forward and really setting yourself out and differentiating yourself from other people that are out there doing what you do, which is so critical in today's marketplace. It is so important that you figure out ways of positioning yourself as a trusted advisor and use things like creating a significant impact to do just that, to stand out from all of the competition. So today, we're going to talk about impact. We're going to talk about exactly how you have an impact on your prospects and clients, and even more importantly, exactly how impact can have a huge impact on your success. So don't go anywhere. This is the Impact Sales Podcast, and we'll be back in just a moment. Hi, this is Joe Beck with The Sales Activist. Are you an entrepreneur, a coach, or a consultant who's struggling to generate explosive sales success in your business? Well, I would love to help you. How would you like to have your sales triple in less than 6 months? Well, that's exactly what I can do to help you through my ISM system, the Impact Sales Mastery System, designed to help coaches, consultants, and entrepreneurs create dynamic and consistent sales success. All of that without spending a single penny on advertising, and guaranteed. If you'd like to learn more about the Impact Sales Mastery System and our guarantee that will triple your sales results in 6 months, just text me at 409-509-7355. That's 409-509-7355. And I look forward to speaking with you. This is Joe Beck with The Sales Activist. You don't have to settle for average sales results. I'll talk to you soon. And we're back with the Impact Sales Podcast. This is your host, Joe Beck, and I have been looking forward to this episode. I'll tell you, I love the idea and topic of impact in the sales process. So today, we're going to unpack it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to dig through it. And we're going to explore exactly how impact can dramatically impact your sales success, no matter what it is that you're selling, whether you're a coach, consultant, or an entrepreneur, and you're not necessarily generating the sales results that you'd like to generate, or you'd like to take it to the next level. I'm going to tell you that the answers are going to be in today's episode. So let's start by kind of backing up a little bit and talking a little bit about something that people are very familiar with, and that's the concept of creating and building value, right? Most people recognize that value is significant. Well, I'm going to put this to you all, and I believe this is just the case of the world we live in today. Years ago, value was providing great information, educating your prospect, and that still obviously plays a role in the sales process today. But years ago, when information wasn't as readily available, value came from doing a lot of those things. And it was a significant game changer for the people that were really good at educating their prospects and their clients. They earned their respect that way. They had the opportunity to do more business with them that way because they felt that their salesperson, whoever that person was educating them as a client. And it just created a really great relationship. It created that trusted advisor status. Well, a lot of things have changed in the world in recent years. Now more than ever before, information is available. You can get most information that you need about most offerings, products, or services out there somewhere online, or in the very least, you have a nice running head start to understand what it is that you're going to be talking about, what it may do, product, feature, benefit, all the different things that might be included. So value has, in some regards, not only become readily available, it's actually become the minimum expectation. I believe that people naturally expect value today. If you don't bring value, significant value, you are going to find yourself on the outside looking in because the bar has been raised, so to speak. And that's why I spend a lot of time talking about the idea of impact. Now, value is obviously the exchange of something where it's perceived that somebody is benefiting by its receipt. Whether you're paying for something or you're having a service delivered, you feel better off as a result of that process and it's valuable to you, right? And it can have obviously a very positive effect on you as a person, you as a business, whatever it is that this is in relation to. So that's value. It's really what it does for you and the overall impact that it has on your well-being or your business's well-being. But the idea and the topic of exploring impact is a different avenue versus value. See, value is all about what somebody may get or receive. Impact is primarily and mostly about how they feel. It's primarily about how they feel about the product you're offering, the service you're providing, the things that you're going to do for them or with them, how they emotionally feel and connect to it. And even beyond that, and this is the true power behind understanding impact in the sales process, it's how you walk them through the journey of exploration. And really, it's guided discovery through the process to get them excited about what it is that you're offering, but also make an emotional connection to it. See, it's really, really difficult in a competitive marketplace to stand out if you don't do things differently than everybody else that's out there, right? You know, products, services, a lot of things have become commoditized. It's very challenging for people to stand out. And the whole base element of being successful in sales is first you have to attract people. You have to stand out. You have to draw them into you so they can recognize that what you have to offer is significant and important for them. So the idea of creating and delivering value should be the base minimum requirement. And from there, it really comes down to how you separate yourself from other people that might be showing your prospects or your clients a similar competing product. So let's talk about that. Let's dig into impact and let's talk specifically about why impact makes a huge, huge impact on the people that are around. We're going to say the word impact a few times today, folks. So bear with me. So when I talk about impact, and a large part of the reason why our podcast is called the Impact Sales Podcast, and the weekly live that I do is Impact Sales Live, is because I believe the X factor in sales is impact. Value, it should be there. It's expected to be there, but impact is what I consider the X factor. It's the deciding factor between success and failure, minimal success versus great success. Just barely getting by versus crushing your sales goals. I think if you can master how to have an impact and explore impact, I think, the world is yours. I think you can truly create and accomplish anything you want sales-wise when you become a master at utilizing impact. So let's talk about what that looks like. Well, many times people get caught up in there has to be flash. There has to be this huge, overwhelming, in big lights on the marquee impact for a prospect or a client to work with you. And that's not at all what I'm saying, because as I said a few minutes ago, impact is really an emotional trigger. It's something that really means something to an individual. And I know I've cited this example with guests in previous episodes, and we talk a lot about value and impact, and we talk about the importance of being a trusted advisor. But I want to go back to something that's been shared in multiple episodes so far, and that's this. In many instances, in fact, not only many, in the majority of instances, well over 70% of the time, the sales professional that's speaking to the prospect or client, whether you're a coach, consultant, or an entrepreneur, the person themselves that's proposing or selling to the prospect is simply not memorable in the eyes of the prospect. They don't stand out. Now, what does that tell us? That tells us a lot. It tells us that many people sound very much like everybody else. People fall into categories and they end up sounding, at least in the eyes of our prospects, they sound the same. They do the same things. They sound the same. They offer similar products. The prices might be close or similar in nature. They don't stand out. Well, the first rule in being able to be successful and to be identified and recognized is, man, you better be memorable. You better come up with a way of being memorable. Why is that so powerful? Well, it becomes powerful for a lot of reasons. Number one, not only will it help you in the relationship with your prospect, but it becomes even more relevant when future business is at stake, when there's referrals potentially that could be made. If they don't even remember who you are, they may vaguely remember the product or the offering, but if they don't remember you, if you're not memorable, you're at a disadvantage. But let's assume you take care of that. Let's assume you are memorable. Let's talk about how you really throw it over the top, how you really stand out from everybody else. And I'm going to tell you, it's by doing things differently. Doing things differently. And what are the things that you do differently? Well, and that's where really impact comes in. See, the average person goes only so far in these sales interactions. They go to the point where they've talked to the client, they've identified a need or a desire that the client may have. The ultimate goal should be for whoever that person is to make sure that they stand out enough that that person is interested in learning more about their product. They explain the product to them. They talk about pricing. They talk about terms, conditions, all of that stuff. And at some point in that process, they ask for the business, right? This is a very typical or stereotypical sales process. We have a discovery call or we have a discovery process. We identify a need or a desire. We go in and we try to position or propose a solution to either the entire problem or desire or a part of it. And then we get into terms and conditions and we ask for the business. Very typical. What happens many times, though, is we just, as people, have become very impatient. Everybody wants to get to things faster, more efficiently. They want things to be automated, right? It's just the society we live in. Well, unfortunately, that's impacted sales processes everywhere. It's impacted how people propose. It's impacted how people explain their products or services. Some people will put together a landing page and think that that is a sale. And it may be a transaction, but it's really not a sale in the historical sense. There's no relationship being built. Even if that relationship is automated, there still should be something that goes towards building the relationship. And that's where impact comes in. That's where impact is so powerful because it allows you to immediately stand out. And let's go through some examples of that. So let's say your product provides an efficiency that saves your client time, a significant amount of time, 10 hours, 15 hours, 20 hours a week, whatever that may be, or more, right? Well, logic would dictate that, just saying that we would save this significant amount of time may be enough in some cases to win that business. They can, take the next step, connect the dots and realize, well, that time could be valuable. And that's very true. And it can happen in many instances. But what happens when it's not enough? Well, you need to explore that a little further. And a really sound, impact-driven process will include things like follow-up questions to clarify exactly how much of an impact that time may have on your prospect or client. For example, well, Mr. Client, I'm so excited to be able to be showing you this solution. And based upon our proposal, we're going to save you 20 hours a week. Let me ask you, Mr. Client, would that 20 hours be important to you? Well, of course, they're going to say yes. Well, based on that, what would you do with the 20 hours? If you had those 20 hours today, what would you do with that 20 hours in your week? Tell me what you would do. And then you listen. You listen intently to understand what really is important to that person. And if it seems that they're slowing down, if it seems that they're not talking as much as you would like, or they're not sharing or being forthcoming with what they would do at the time, you may need to coax it out of them a little bit, talk a little bit more about, would that time mean extra, maybe travel time with your family? Could you take an extra vacation? What else could you do to kind of jumpstart the conversation? And the reason why you want them talking, the reason why you want them discussing what they would do with the time is it puts them in a position to emotionally connect to the buying decision of accepting your product and moving forward with you and capturing that time. Why is that so important? It's because without a doubt, the emotion behind all of it plays a major role in their decision-making process. If they start emotionally imagining what it would be like to have that time, and this is the power behind getting them to tell you and verbalize it and explain it to you. If they start explaining to you exactly what they would do with that time, it starts becoming real to them. It starts becoming something that they make an emotional commitment to. It starts becoming something that they really want. Now, that is so powerful in and of itself that I want you to take a minute and look back to failed sales opportunities that you may have had and ask yourself that question. Did I go far enough in asking people what they would do at the time, or if it was a money solution, what they would do with the money? Did I let them tell me what they would do? Did they explain it to me? Did I hear their emotional commitment when I proposed the solution? Or did I just jump into, here are our terms and conditions, here's how we can do this, would you like to get started? Now, why is this so powerful? Why is this truly going to have an impact? Well, it goes back to what I said a few minutes ago. People are not memorable. Solutions sometimes are not memorable. A variety of different things are going on as it relates to that process. And the biggest thing that is happening for them is they are emotionally in a place where they find themselves getting committed to what it is that they're describing for you. And that emotion moves towards desire, and that desire presses them towards accepting and moving forward with your solution. It's critical for you to be able to know and understand as you look at trying to have an impact and standing out from other people that are out there, that it's all about the other person. It's all about the other person hearing and seeing exactly what it may do for them and starting to create an emotional connection to the decision. The reason why that is so powerful for everybody that's out there selling is the average person just doesn't do that. The average salesperson doesn't do it. They stop short. They impatiently move towards the close. They impatiently move towards trying to move forward with the business, thinking about them instead of just letting the prospect tell you more about what it is that may do for them. Now, why is that so powerful? Well, let's talk about what we've already addressed. Number one, it helps you stand out. It helps you later on. If somewhere throughout the sales process that your prospect decides that they're having second thoughts or buyer's remorse, or they're struggling with moving forward with the decision to do it, well, you now have something that really means something to them to go back and reference. Well, imagine saying this. Let me ask you, Mr. Client, you had said that along the way, that time was important, that it would have given you more time to travel, more time with your family, an extra vacation week or two that you wouldn't have gotten without that time. What does that time really mean to them? And it allows you as the professional to separate yourself from other people. See, there's a line in the sales process, and that line is what I call the impact line. It's a line where the average salesperson stops and decides to go for the close, and where the elite sales professionals go just a little bit further, expand the relationship, get to hear more from the prospect about what's important to them, and more importantly, exactly why they really want to move forward with your solution. See, at the end of the day, it's not important to them what your solution is, what your product is, or what your offering is. What's important is what it does for them. So it stands to reason that you spend more of your time talking about the impact that they receive from your product, your service, or your offering. And if you don't do that, if you look at your average sales call or sales appointment and you realize, man, I spend a lot of time talking about what it is that we do and how we do it and how great we are, you can throw all of that away. None of that matters. If you really want to stand out, if you want to separate yourself from the competition, if you want to create elite sales success, you need to spend all your time focusing on the impact on your prospect, on your client, and listen in their own words what it would do for them. You'd be amazed how many times that those two things just don't align very well. Like the person that's selling thinks that the client is getting this. Well, no. Maybe the most important element for that client is the time. It is getting that extra vacation that they couldn't have gotten before. Or maybe your solution adds money to their bottom line. And, it's just not enough for them to move on it unless they go through that thought process of what that may mean. And in a financial example, it could mean a lot. It could mean promoting somebody that they couldn't afford to promote before, or hiring somebody to expand their business that they couldn't afford before, or taking better care of their employees, their business, their company. And that could have a huge emotional impact on your prospect or your client. Gone are the days that you could just product dump and run and think that the majority of people are going to go, wow, this is great. This is the best thing since sliced bread. I'm going to jump on this and I'm going to go do it. You know why they won't do that? It's simple, because they can grab their smartphone and they can look up for any amount of competing products or services or offerings, and they can get more information and then price shop you with however many different outlets. For you to really stand out, for you to be an elite sales professional, you need to focus on what's important to them, focus on the impact that they receive, and dig into exactly what that means for them. The power behind that is not just the process of exploring what it is that they get and how they feel about it. The power behind it is getting them to verbalize it, getting them to tell you why it's important, why it would have an impact, what it would mean, who it would truly impact within their life or their business. Get them talking about it, because everything that they say, no matter what the reasoning, everything that they say aligns with them making a decision towards taking action and working with you. If you get them talking about truly the impact of what your product or service offering could mean to them, and explore it. Now, this requires some good communication skills. This is one of the things that we teach with the sales activist. This requires solid communication skills, keeping that conversation going, listening to understand, taking mental note or physical notes of the things that are really important, active listening. These are all things that are critical in this process, because the more they verbalize, the closer you are to getting that deal home. The less they verbalize, the less they give you by way of detail or meaning or impact that they receive, the less likely that person is going to work with you or move forward with the solution that you're proposing. I think it's important that you understand, when it comes to impact, there is this massive ripple effect that flows through your entire business when you make a commitment towards impact. We already talked about standing out from your competition, being memorable, being that person that they remember. We talked about how it makes the sales process easier when they are verbalizing what it is that they get from it and really making an emotional connection to the buying decision, how much easier that becomes to win their business. That's absolutely true. We talked about how it can benefit you dramatically as it relates to the process of overcoming objections if later on they decide that they're not quite ready or there's hesitation in them moving forward. Well, you simply have to go back to your notes or go back through the list of things that they said that was important to them in their own words, why it was important to them and what it meant to them, you simply have to go back to talk about those things to remind them about why they were moving forward with the decision. See, this goes back to the old adage, and it's so very true, that people buy on emotion. They may move forward with their buying decision based on logic, but everybody buys on emotion. There's some emotional trigger that makes them take action. Now, it's challenging in some cases to get that emotional trigger engaged, right? But the easiest way of doing that is to spend your time and energy focused on impact. See, the fact is, if they don't buy into working with you, if they don't buy into your product, your service, your offering, or you personally, if there's not some emotional connection to that, your likelihood for success is not very high anyway. But the way you amplify your success rate and put yourself in a position to truly achieve sales results you never thought possible is by leaning forward heavily into the impact side of the sales process. And this just casts a ripple through the entire process. You know what else it does? And this is one of those hidden byproducts that people don't talk about a lot, but it's so true. You know, some of the best calls that I ever get from prospects or clients or former clients is when they say, you know, I just knew you really cared about my success. I knew you were sincere in wanting to help me accomplish my goals, my dreams for my business, whatever it was. And the reason why those calls come is because I cared enough to ask those questions and create through their explanation the impact. It superseded everything else. It got over details that may trip up other sales processes. In fact, it can overcome pricing objections. It can overcome service objections. It can overcome a lot when they simply say, you know, you're the only person that walked me through explaining what this may do for me and my business. Like I talked to 3 other people and they showed me competing products and, you know, they gave me good proposals and they were competitive, but you're the only person that stood out. You're the only person that really went as far as asking me what it would mean if I had this, what it would mean if I had that, what would I do with this, what would I do with that. You're the only person that did that. And that is such a powerful testament to the importance of impact. It goes beyond the product, the service. It goes beyond the terms and conditions of what it is that you offer. It even goes beyond you as an individual. It goes back to them recognizing the feeling that they got from working with you, being able to know that they were working with somebody that truly had their best interest at heart, that was asking enough and digging enough to know that they really cared emotionally what was important. Now, I know for some people, they get a little nervous or intimidated by the idea of asking some of those feely-findy type questions related to the impact of what somebody may get or receive or how they feel about what it is that they're offering. But I'm going to tell you, if you really want to take great strides forward in your business, you need to get comfortable doing it and just be yourself in the process. Just make it a conversation. Get to know the people that you're speaking to at a deeper level, not just on a product and a solution level, not on a terms and conditions level, but get to know them by having an impact, exploring what that impact would mean to them, and even more importantly, connecting with the emotions that come across when they explain it to you. See, the most beautiful part of that process when you're talking to people about that in a sales process and they're explaining to you in their own words why things are important, what it would mean to them, their business, their family, their life, all of it, is you start forming a bond with those people. You start recognizing similarities. You start recognizing other ways that you may be able to work with them, help them, collaborate with them. In fact, not only will it make you a better sales professional, I think it'll make you a better human being by getting to know people at a little deeper level. And I know this goes against the grain with some other sales trainers and coaches that are out there that are very, very process focused and driven on steps and doing things a certain way and not talking past the sale. Well, I'm going to tell you that the best sale that you could ever do is one that at the end of the process, the client says to you, the prospect says to you, what do I need to do to move forward? You know, you've done everything right when that prospect says, what are the next steps? What do I need to do? When they ask you, and you don't have to ask them, you've done all the right things. You put them in a place where they can make a really good decision for themselves, and they're feeling good about it because emotionally, they're the ones that are asking you what the next steps are. So I encourage you, if you haven't spent a lot of time talking about or thinking about the topic of impact, I encourage you to download and re-listen to this episode whenever you can. Catch some of our previous episodes on the Impact Sales Podcast or Impact Sales Live, where we talk more about impact in the sales process. And for all of you that are out there, coaches, consultants, entrepreneurs that are selling, make that emotional connection with your prospects. Ask those deeper questions and get your prospects talking. Get them telling you what it means to them, why it's so important, and what their life would look like by implementing what it is that you're offering. And you're going to find that it becomes a lot easier for you to meet and exceed your sales objectives. So this has been a lot of fun talking about the idea of impact. Stay tuned for Impact Sales Podcast going forward. We have a lot of amazing episodes. Make sure you subscribe on whatever podcast platform you're listening to us on, and don't miss a single episode. We work hard to make sure there's significant value and impact in every episode. This is Joe Beck with the Sales Activist for the Impact Sales Podcast, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care. Hi, this is Joe Beck with the Sales Activist. Would you like to triple your sales results in 6 months or less? That's right. Triple your sales results, all without spending a single penny on advertising, and all of that guaranteed. Well, that's exactly what the Sales Activist can do for you with our Impact Sales Mastery Program. The Impact Sales Mastery Program was put together and based upon a 30-plus year career in sales success, totaling over $400 million in sales results for large companies, Fortune 100 companies, Inc. 500 companies, as well as a variety of different entrepreneurial ventures, all condensed into a groundbreaking sales coaching experience to be able to help coaches, consultants, and entrepreneurs create dynamic and consistent sales success. If you'd like to take part in the Impact Sales Mastery Program and learn how we can triple your sales results in 6 months or less, guaranteed, just text me at 409-509-7355. That's 409-509-7355 to get all of the details. This is Joe Beck with the Sales Activist, and I look forward to speaking with you.